in Janakos. Janakos. Yeah, but that's how I said it because I never met my dad. Gianakos was when I was born. But in Japan, if I spelled it Gianakos, the people in Japan call me Gianakos, and I don't want to be called Gianakos. So I always tell them it's Janakos like Japan, so I put J-A like Japan. Janakos like Japan. Yeah, Janak. Don't knock us until you try us. That's how I say. I don't. No, I'm on a supposedly the fastest in northern Japan internet. Oh, I just closed one page. May. Okay. Okay, maybe we're gonna have to put our running shoes on. But I I was studying natural health ever since I was about probably 18 or so. I started working out at health clubs when I was 17, and I started working selling memberships at health clubs. Was Family Fitness Center in California. Looking good, feeling great, family fitness, get your body in shape, and that was back in the 90s. And being in sales and health clubs, I was approached by every single natural healing modality out there. I started selling for Voxa, for New Skin, for all these different multi-level marketing companies, all these wonderful products that you're supposed to. You take one drink of them, you can talk backwards in 4 languages, and you can do backflips and somersaults, and all this stuff. But I never actually. I did vegan for about 3 or 4 years. I did everything natural. I was into herbs and everything else. But then all of a sudden, I don't know when it was. I think it was about in 1999. I was bending down, shopping at. It was like, what was it called? Like Kmart or something. But anyway, I was bending down, and I couldn't get back up. I felt this like pinch in my back, and I'm like, ah. And I couldn't get up, so I had to like push myself out of the store in a shopping cart. And for the next day, 3 days, I was laying in bed. I could barely roll out of bed. And that was right after I had broken up with my longest relationship at the time, which was 1 year relationship. And now I realize most of the things that cause problems in the body are trapped emotions, which are part of the emotion code, which is part of the body code, which we'll get into later. And the funny thing is the shopping center that I was at where I pulled my back out was about a block away from the founder of the body code and the emotion code, which is Dr. Bradley Nelson. He had an office in Aliso Viejo. No, actually not Aliso Viejo. Aliso Viejo is where I was working at the time. He had an office in Laguna Niguel, which is right next to Aliso Viejo. And I was living in the canyons near there. And I could have went to his office and learned all about his healing, and I probably would have got better. But instead, for 5 years, I didn't know he was there. I suffered, and I kept getting worse back problems. I went to chiropractors. It helped a little. I went to, in Japan we call Harikyu, which in America it's called acupuncture. And that helped a little too. I tried every I did all kinds of Reiki stuff. I did just everything I could get my hands on. And then one day I went to a lady who put her hands on me, above me, like a little bit above my whole body, and I was laying down, and I could feel wherever she moved her hands on my body, even though she wasn't touching me. And that night when I got home, I had the worst pain I've ever had in my life. But the next morning I woke up, I didn't have any pain in my back for about 6 months. Which, when I went to the chiropractors, it would be about a month. I would get my back adjusted, and for a month I felt great, and then a month later it would go back to the same thing as before. So it cost me. I went two or 3 years to the chiropractor, and it cost me about $40 every visit. So I probably spent, I don't know how many thousands of dollars at the chiropractor. Which I love chiropractors, because actually Dr. Bradley Nelson was a chiropractor and a craniopath, which works on brain muscles and brain or head bones. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me go sign back on Skype, because I closed Skype to try to make it faster. So hold on 1 second. Okay, where's my Skype?
Better deal here.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Let's go to change settings. Hello. Okay, that's working. We're gonna go to not headphone. Can you hear me better now? You can hear. Okay, so I'm going to pick up where I left off. Okay, so my back was better with energy healing. The problem with the energy healer in Japan is she spoke no English, and I barely speak any Japanese, so I couldn't learn from her. So I've been Buddhist all my life. I started chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. I have to figure out how to do energy healing, because that's the only thing that really, for 6 months, I felt really good. So I went to America to see my family, and I had a case of almost dying, of choking on the first bit of bread and turkey dinner I had. I think it was on Christmas Eve, and I didn't have insurance, and I didn't have all my relatives were getting drunk. It was Christmas Eve, and I didn't want to go to a doctor on Christmas Eve, so I all night almost threw up. I was throwing up, and I was choking on this meat that I tried to swallow. And so my little brother the next morning says, well, I got a healing modality I want to teach you about. So he gave me all the information about body code and emotion code. And at the time, I went to America by myself because my wife was pregnant, and we had bought tickets for the both of us to go, but my wife couldn't come because she just found out she was pregnant, and this was our second attempt to have a child, and the first child we lost. So the first thing I actually started working on is my wife, because I didn't want her to have morning sickness anymore, because she was having really debilitating morning sickness. So I started working on her morning sickness, and every time I worked on it, the morning sickness went away right away. And then it would come back a week later or so, and then it would go away right away. So I learned right away that morning sickness was the easiest thing to overcome. And then I started working on my back, and I had all these other medical problems. I had polyps in my nasal cavities, which I still can't smell yet. I'm still working on that. But at least I can breathe. I had a stuffed nose all the time since I was a little kid. And I also had itchy skin problems. I had rashes. I would have to wash my sheets. Any hotel I went to, I'd have to bring my own sheets because it would make me itch like crazy all night. I couldn't wear any clothes with tags on the back, like little tag here would make my back break out. I had all kinds of problems. So it took me about a year or two to completely get rid of all the issues that I had with my back and with my skin and I had other problems I don't want to talk about. And so I told the universe, as I was chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, overcoming my problems, I told the universe, if I can overcome all these problems, I'm going to help everyone. So as soon as I got rid of all my problems, I started my own radio program, and I've been doing it for like 3 or 4 years now. And on the back wall here, you can see there's a certification of the emotion code. I got certified in the emotion code. I decided not to get certified in any other healing modality after that because I learned them all so quickly that I don't really like to follow rules, and I like to add in all of them mixed together, which anytime you do one healing modality, they all think it's the best healing modality in the world and you shouldn't add any other healing modality in it. But I found that every healing modality that I've learned, I've found a way to use the other healing modality that I learned along with it. So that's what I do. That's a nutshell. Okay, I can't hear anybody. Maybe I need to put my headset back on. Let me try that, because I took off my headset because I was hearing differently. Let me do the headset again. Okay. Can I hear you? No. We can hear Tim, not Chris. Cool. It's my solo call. So, while she's over there kicking it in her living room, I'm just going to say that I put a link up there that I'm in a contest, and I'm going to win a record deal if I win the contest, and I'm going to win $25,000 and a whole truck full of musical equipment. So I'm going to post it again because it was up there, and I'm going to post it one more time. So if all you guys can go to this link, I'm taking over the call. This is what happens when I get on a radio show. I take over the call. But hopefully we're going to figure out how to get the host back in here. But in the meantime, oh, that's how we're going to do it. Okay.
Welcome to our tour talk. Welcome. Please dial 11 to speak to the host.
Okay, hang on. We're gonna go back on air in a second here.
Okay.
All right, we're back. It was the only way for me to get, and nobody's taking over my show while I'm here. You know what I mean? And so anyway, yeah, we were doing way better at the very beginning. See, if the first thing you try works, leave it the hell alone. You know what I mean? So when you first called into us by Skype, we heard you perfectly well, and then you decided to switch over to the browser, which gave us chopped up sound, and then adding you onto my call knocked my sound out. So anyway, we're back now, and everybody has sound. So and the music should play properly too. So there we go. So thank you for that very lengthy answer, and I'm glad that you kept it going for us there, Tim. And so you started to get into healing yourself, and you do your own radio show, and you're doing. So what if you just like try and describe for people who don't know. I've had the other guests who have wanted to come on and talk about the emotion code and things like this. Most of us have heard about quantum touch, but not everybody knows what that is. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about, like, everybody knows what Reiki is and how that works. So tell us a little bit about the body code and the emotion code, and then we'll move on to some of the other modalities that you work with. Tell us how those work.
Okay. So I'm going to try to mix body code and access consciousness together because it kind of works similarly. Access consciousness believes that if anything's true for you, you will feel light. If anything is not true or false for you, you will feel heavy. In the body code, we say, if it's true, yes, 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 you have a strong muscle test. That's strong. It won't go down. I push it. I'm just touching it barely. My finger's not going to go down. If I say no, it just falls down. I don't even have to try. So basically, the answer to any problem is going to be found out with a yes or no question. So if you want to know if this girl's lost and if she's drowned in the ocean, you can say, do I have a strong connection with this girl? Is she okay? So I ask she's okay. What that means, I don't know. I can ask more questions. I don't know if she's drowned in a river or whatever. But the thing is, all of our bodies are connected energetically to everything around us. This computer in front of me is energetically connected to me. The bed, the chair I'm sitting on. If my butt starts feeling a little heavy and hurting, I usually ask the chair, can you please get more comfortable for me? And I ask the molecules of my rear end to get a little softer. And somehow the consciousness of everything will work together in communion with everything. So the body code, emotion code, and all the other healing modalities is about finding communion, which is a little bit different than a relationship, because relationship means the distance between two things, and a communion means coming together as one. And in Buddhism, we call it funi, which means not two. So Esho Funi means the oneness of life and its environment. Shiki Shin Funi means the oneness of mind and body. There's a whole bunch of funis in Buddhism, but anyway, funi means not.
A whole bunch of phonies in the psychic business too. I mean phonies.
Yeah, there's a lot of phonies too. So the cool thing is, no one can lie to you if you learn how to do muscle testing, or no one can lie to you if you know something feels heavy to you. If you don't know how to muscle test, if something feels heavy to you, it's probably not true for you. Whether it's true for someone else, it might not be true for you. For example, if someone says to one person, getting married means happiness, that might be true for one person, but that for someone like me who's been married twice, it might not be true.
Jesus, man, you didn't learn the first time? What the hell's wrong with you?
No, I was trying to follow my whole family. My whole family, actually my dad's been married 3 times, but my mom married twice, my older brother married twice. The second one was always somewhat better, but with my brother it's much better. My dad, he's a little crazy, so his third one's not even good, and they were all bad. But anyway.
I always go like this. I had a friend tell me one time, I've been married 3 times, I've been divorced 3 times, and I go, and it's always them, right?
Yep.
It's always them.
It's always them. The funny thing is, when you divorce one person, you always somehow